MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We got an awesome show here today with some seven-figure earner, 21-year veteran in the profession, Tim Herr. What's up, Tim?
Hey, Simon, fired up to be here, man. I appreciate your time and having me on.
Yes, you know what? It's going to be really, really fun. I've heard so many great things about you. And for those on MLM Nation, if you like this, first of all, on the feed, let us know where you're from. Tim, you can also hit refresh. You should be able to share it right now. And we'll get started in a second. And if you actually, we have some time. If you want, those on Facebook Live, type in a comment or so. If you have a question, type it in. If you have time, we will go over your questions as well. So I just shared it to my page. Tim, let me know when you're ready, and then we can get rocking.
All right. We're sharing it right now, and appreciate you, Simon, once again for having me on.
I appreciate you. You're the one who's, I know you're the big-time leader, and for sharing your valuable time, I really appreciate it. Perfect. So I'm ready to go whenever you are.
All right. Just give me 1 second here.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and share this.
Hey, Julius, what's going on? Gwen Jones. Good afternoon. Good morning. And Nick from New York. It's good to see you, Nick. Maisha from Brooklyn. It's good to see you on here. And whenever you're ready, we'll go.
All right, we're ready to go.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today, someone I've heard so much. A lot of the leaders I'm good friends with, big-time leaders, all basically came from him, like about 20 years ago. We have Tim Herr. Hey, Tim, are you ready to make it happen?
Simon, I am fired up, man. I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you having me on.
Tim Herr has over 21 years of full-time experience in the MLM profession. Currently, he's the master distributor at his company, a seven-figure ring earner, and made over $1 million in commissions in just 12 months. Aside from network marketing, Tim has been married for 20 years and has 4 kids. He's also coached youth sports for 11 years and lives in Southern California. So, Tim, I've given MLM Nation a brief intro, but please take us back in the day. How did you get started in network marketing?
Well, you know what, Simon? I got involved in this industry, man, it was quite some time ago, but 21 years ago, actually, my brother-in-law had called me up and he said, Tim, hey, look, you know what? I got really lucky. He said, I met this really wealthy gentleman. You got to meet him. And he kept telling me about this gentleman. And I said, look, you know what? Let me come meet this guy. And, I got a chance to be able to get introduced to, a gentleman that later became my mentor. And when I met him, I was excited. I was like, man, you know what? I just want to be able to get around this gentleman and find out, what it is he knows. And he took me under his wing and really coached me. He taught me. He really shared with me what I needed to do to win. And now it's been 21 years. But, prior to getting involved in the industry, Simon, I was working at a go-kart track, in Southern California. I worked on a go-kart track out here called Boomers. I was 17 years old when I got started in this industry, struggling in school, just kind of scared about my future. So when I saw, our industry of direct sales and network marketing, I thought, man, I just want to get around, these leaders and find out what is it they know so I can have the results. And that's why I respect, Simon, what you do so much, because, you're really connecting so many people that really wouldn't have access to great training and great mentoring. And you're really, making it accessible to so many people. So many people get started, and man, I just love what you're doing. It's just amazing, Simon.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. So let's get started. You're 17 years old. You're working in a go-kart. You joined the business. How was your first couple of weeks like?
Oh man, the first couple of weeks it was all about learning. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no experience obviously in business. I was like, man, just show me what to do and I'll do it. So I just started going to training. So I got started. Had to put together the resources to get started, and then I came to that first training, and I remember walking into that first training, Simon, and how I felt. I was a little bit scared, I was a little bit nervous, but I was hopeful because I really wanted the industry to work for me. I saw these success stories and I saw people succeeding, and I thought, man, I really want to learn from them. I want to grow, I want to develop. And, I just turned myself into a serious student. I remember them telling me, get a journal and go out there and just start taking notes. And that's all I did is I just started plugging into the system the first couple of weeks, jumping on conference calls, and just really learning from my mentors. And that's really how I got started, Simon.
So did you make any money during that time when you first started?
No, it took me, I would say, my first year I was able to do kind of well. I did, But it was really it was about my first 6 months was really a learning curve for me. But, I knew that, in order to be successful at anything, you had to learn. So my first 6 months was really about learning and growing. I don't think I maybe made one check for maybe $13, but I mean, that was about it. And then the next 6 months is when it really started to explode, and my life started to change back 21 years ago.
So what kept you in the game? Because most 17-year-olds, they were like, they think about girls or partying or college. And you made no money in 6 months. Why did you stay in it?
Oh, man. I just was afraid for my future. I didn't do really well, Simon, in school. I never really had been successful in anything. I played football in high school, but the team I played for, Simon, we actually, we didn't win a game. We lost every game that we played. And so I just would never succeed in anything. But I realized that when I got involved in this industry, that I really needed to take it serious. I needed to learn it. And I saw the success, and I was afraid. I didn't want to work at a job for the next, the rest of my life. I just said, man, if there's a 1% chance that I could become successful and financially independent, there's a 0% chance of me becoming successful on the current track I was on. So I just realized that, look, I got to stick with it, Simon. I got to stay the course, and I just got to learn this, because I didn't want to live the rest of my life looking back and wondering what could have been if I would have stayed in this industry.
Hey, for those on Facebook Live, yes, this is the legendary champion, Tim Herr. If you like this, please share this. Get it out to the Facebook world. Please hit the share button. And also, if you like these interviews, please subscribe so you get notifications the next time we interview legends like Tim. So, Tim, let's talk about the first 6 months. You're learning, you're scared. You don't want to, you figure you have nothing to lose. Then you start to make money the next 6 months. What was that turning point, the aha moment?
The aha moment for me was, I would say, Simon, was really whenever I got when my big turning point for me, the aha moment for me, I think, was 6 months into it, and I realized that I was going to have to, I had to do something. I had to step up. I had to, get out of my comfort zone. I really had to just make that 100% commitment. So what I did, Simon, is I said, absolutely, hey, look, this is it. I'm going to do it no matter what. And, I just got out of my comfort zone. I started telling people, hey, look, you know what, whether you want to get started or not, I'm going to be successful with or without you. And once I started to have that confidence, my mentor taught me that, once you have that attitude that says, hey, look, you know what, I'm going to the top no matter what, over, under, through. He taught me that people are going to be afraid not to get started with you. So I think what happened was people were like, man, you know what, I don't want to, miss out. They could tell that I was up to something, and people, will be afraid, Simon, to not get started if they know that you know where you're going. So I just think that people started to feel that confidence that I started to get, because I just came to that turning point where I had to make it happen. I had to make it happen. And then when I came to that turning point, that was really when I started to experience some major breakthroughs.
A lot of people say they are working hard, they're going all out. But for you, you said you got out of your comfort zone, you made that commitment. In terms of like your daily schedule, what's the definition of commitment for you?
The biggest thing about commitment, Simon, I think is when you make a total commitment, you cut off all other options. Where, hey, look, you know what, I'm going to succeed no matter what. I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And I think when you get to that turning point where you're like, look, this is it. This is my time. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to become successful. Over, under, through. I'm going to get there. And no matter, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be scared. I'm just going to go all out, And I think when you get truly committed, it's all about just giving it 100%, And really, Simon, when you look at that, you talk about daily method of operation, you talk about scheduling. I think the biggest thing, it's whenever it becomes an all-consuming obsession. When your burning desire becomes an all-consuming obsession, and that's what it came down to, is that I wanted to make it so bad, Simon, that I just had to give it everything that I got. And I just got out of my comfort zone and just went all out massive action and just started talking to every single person and having a backbone and just saying, hey, look, you know what, I'm going to make it happen in this business and I want you to be a part of it, and just really started to have that demeanor and confidence. And I think people started to get attracted to me as a result of that back 21 years ago.
Obviously, you made a lot of sacrifices. What's an example of a sacrifice you made as a 17-year-old kid? In terms of this 100% commitment.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, mainly when I work with younger people, I'm excited right now to work with my son. My oldest son, Simon, just turned 18, and when he turned 18, it was a great feeling for me, because he said, Dad, I want to do what you do, and it made me proud as a father to now get a chance to share with my son. But when I work with young people, I think the biggest thing that, maybe is something that people say sometimes is that, oh, you're only young once, but we're only old ones too. So, for me, it was like, I could either pay now, right, or I could play now. And most people, they play now and they pay later. But when they play now and pay later in life, the compound interest is wild. But if you pay the price early on, you can enjoy the benefits. And so my attitude was always like, instead of going out and partying or hanging out and making poor choices, on Friday nights, for instance, I remember one of my buddies who is also a networker as well for the last 20 years. And he got started with me, and he's written some great books about network marketing as well. And my buddy Cliff and I, we would just, on Friday nights, man, him and I would just sit down and watch Jim Rohn VHSs at my apartment, early on. And our friends were out partying and making poor choices. And we were just like, hey, look, you know what? Let's just watch Jim Rohn. And it was those types of decisions where it's, you go for the bicycle tomorrow, or do you want the lollipop today? And most people are like, man, I want that lollipop today. I want that lollipop today. But if you go for the bicycle tomorrow and you pay the price at the beginning, you're going to enjoy the benefits. And it's all about timing. When people get that aha moment, it's going to happen for everybody as long as they stay in the business and stay in the industry, and they're going to get there.
Great wisdom. I love you said we're young once, but we're also old once, and actually we're old for many, many more years than we're young.
That's true.
I think the older you get, the more you realize, gosh, the youth was only a couple of years, but old seems to last forever, right? They're great advice, and I love the bicycle, the lollipop, and you also talk about Cliff Braun's another awesome leader. We had him, by the way, MLM Nation listeners. He's been on the show. You can check out episode 168. Go to mlmnation.net/168 to check out Cliff Braun's. Now, let's get back to what we're talking about there. How did you, in terms of all your experience, 21 years, and this is my favorite question, what is your worst moment in network marketing?
Man, there was a point in time, Simon, where, I got involved in a couple companies that I was following kind of the wrong leadership, and I didn't think this industry was going to work for me, but I never graduated high school, I never went to college, and obviously those are decisions I wish I would have made differently. But I got to that point where, after a few bad experiences, I got to that point where I was about to give up, and a friend of mine who I'd trained in the industry, he helped me believe in myself, whenever I didn't believe in myself. And I picked myself back up that one more time. And that one more time was really what set me down the road for success. And I just think that so many times people don't realize, Simon, how close they are to success before they give up, and I think there was a point in time in my life back when 2000, I would say 1999, where I'd kind of given up hope on this industry after, the first couple of years being a great success. Then it started to go downhill. But it was that it's about, building those relationships and just caring about people, and I think that's the biggest thing about, this industry is there's such an impact that people can make in other people's lives. But I think oftentimes, whenever you go through those challenges, if you just step up and get back up one more time, that next time, you can become so successful. And as a result of that, you can impact so many people's lives, Simon.
So you had that friend that helped you out. How do you get those friends and mentors, kind of those people that hold you accountable? Where do you find these people?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. I think that you look at it, and this morning I do a daily leadership call in the morning, Simon, and it has nothing to do with network marketing. It's just about personal growth and development, and I do it every morning at 11 a.m. And it's just about helping people with their lives. And this morning I was talking about Think and Grow Rich, right? I know a book that I'm sure you really respect, but one of the things that he says in there is how you cultivate the habit of persistence is, you got to have a clear, plan or a clear desire of what you want your life to look like. And then you have to take continuous action. You got to close your mind against negative people. But the fourth thing he says is you have to align yourself with like-minded people that are going to, that share the same vision with you. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you've got to find people. It's almost like in the gym, you find a workout partner. Sometimes it's hard to go, just wake up in the morning and just go run a couple miles. But if you have a workout partner, somebody that's there that can hold you accountable, I think that's the biggest thing. And that's what I've always tried to do is I don't look at it in our industry. I don't look at things as a downline or upline or anything like that. I just look at it as workout partners. We're all there to help each other out. We're there to help each other grow. And And sometimes, those people could be in your upline, they can be in your side, they can be in your downline, but they're just people that share the same vision and the same purpose of wanting to help people win.
Really good stuff. I've been following you for a while. A lot of, like I said, when I started the Facebook Live, was that a lot of my friends were top leaders in different companies. And when I asked them how they got started in network marketing over 10, 15 years ago, your name always came up, right? So, and they were actually, now they're probably in their 30s. Back then, they were young kids. What was your secret to success to developing leaders? Because almost like, especially in California, almost any leader who is in the early 30s from Southern California, always traced from basically to you. How did you develop so many leaders? It's very impressive.
Simon, I'll tell you this. It's about having a growth mindset and creating an environment. And when you create an environment of a growth mindset environment, you can impact so many people's lives, man. That's what it's about. Is when you create an environment, and I do it the same thing with sports when I coach kids sports, but you create an environment where people can grow and people can develop. And it's a lot of times people, Simon, they have a fixed mindset where they believe that, they're either good at something or they're not. But when you create an environment like that, where you can create that growth environment where people realize, hey, I can get good at this if I just am willing to stay the course. So I think the ability for me to stay in the industry the first 6 months and not really achieve, noteworthy success, what happened, Simon, is because of me doing that, now I was able to help other people too, because everybody can win in this industry. There's no debating it. It's not like, I'm not cut out for that, or that's not the way that I am. Anybody can do it. That's without a doubt. And I think, I was reading a book one time by John Maxwell called Failing Forward. And he says in that book that, my ability to motivate people comes from my ability to believe in people. And I think that's the key, is to really believe in people. And when you believe in somebody, you can really help them, reach their true potential. Because, you and I both know, Simon, we've all got, people have got unlimited potential. And I think the reason why we've been able to create so many leaders and really help so many people out. And like you said, man, I look across the industry and I look at, company after company after company after company. And the fact that I've been able to touch so many of those people's lives and help them out, that's to me is what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's not so much about, I think sometimes people have they have a scarcity complex, or they have an inferiority complex where, they're kind of insecure and they're like, oh, these are my people. It's like, come on, man. I just want to just help people out. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me what if somebody's in what company, XYZ company, it doesn't matter. It's just about growing people and helping people, making an impact, and if you can care about people and you can grow people and make an impact, we can change the world, man. And we can change the world one person at a time. And that's what gets me fired up, because I know, Simon, that, I'm only going to be here for a short period of time, but on this planet, but in the time that I do have, hopefully it's a lot longer than the average person. But the time that we all have here, we have a chance to make an impact on people's lives. And if we can do that and grow people and change people, man, we can do incredible things. So that's really, Simon, what gets me fired up about our industry of direct sales network marketing.
When you talk about the environment, creating an environment for the growth mindset, especially for these young kids, right? What do you do? You said, do you do like a Friday night meeting, or you definitely have a morning call? What are some things you do?
Yeah, the Friday night leaderships have been something that have really worked really well for me, throughout my career. Is because Friday night, and when you look at, and I'm going to talking about working with younger people. Obviously now, I'm close to 40 years old, so I'm not really that guy anymore. But I still do I still impact people that are younger as well. And the biggest thing, Simon, about it is our competition isn't other network marketing companies. If you're an XYZ company, the other company is not your competition. Your competition is the club, the nightclub, right? Your competition is the bar. Your competition are these things. Those are the things that throw you off. And you look at professional sports, it's the same thing, right? You see these people, their competition isn't necessarily the team they're facing. It's those poor choices out there. So I think the biggest thing is to try to be a positive influence. Being a negative influence is easy. When I was a kid, I used to go party, and, when I was in high school. And then when I got involved in this industry when I was 17, I said, I've got to make some changes. And I can't, if I want to have a life of a greater impact, I can't go out there and make poor choices. So I think the thing is, I do the Friday night leaderships. That's one thing that I've done throughout my career that have really helped out, just growing people, working on goal setting, personal growth and development, those types of things. Another thing too, Simon, that, I've done is like you said, those morning calls. But I think more than anything else, it's a culture that you create, you establish when you work with people, of believing in people. And if you don't believe, and if people, Simon, they don't 100% believe in themselves, okay, they're not going to be able to, they're not going to be able to believe in other people. So I think the biggest thing, people have to have 100% confidence that they can do it, right? That they can do it, that they can learn this business, no matter where they're starting off at, no matter where they are in life, that they can become successful in this industry. And then what happens, I think, Simon, which is super important, is the fact that once you make that commitment that you can do it, is then to believe that other people can do it too. Not that, oh, this person doesn't have the right pedigree, or, this person doesn't have the right background, or this, that, or that thing. Anybody can do this. I mean, we're talking about an industry of sharing. That's all we're doing, is we're just sharing with people. And, we're going to do that anyways. We're going to share with people anyway. So why not share in this type of structure, network marketing, and get rewarded for sharing and helping and growing people, Simon?
Getting back to your Friday night meetings that worked really well, and I think I know the answer to this. Why did you choose Friday night? Because I know some people will say, well, Friday night is a lot of competition. Like you said, I like the competition at the bar or club. Their friends want them to go to bar and club. So how come you didn't put on a Thursday night or Wednesday night when there is no bar and club to go to? Why did you intentionally, and almost like psychologically, chose a Friday night?
I thought Friday night because, like we talked about earlier, my buddy Cliff and I, whenever I got Cliff started, him and I partied together growing up in high school, right? When we were sophomores and juniors and we were making poor choices, him and I worked at Boomers together at a go-kart track in Irvine. So when I got involved in direct sales, him and I would be like, look, Friday night, we knew we had Saturday training early in the morning, and we said, you know what? Let's go back to your place, Tim, and let's watch Jim Rohn videos. So we would go back and just watch Jim Rohn VHSs. Back in those days, we didn't have the DVD players around yet. So we were just watching these VHSs and taking notes and just learning and growing. And when we started really building our distribution and started building our team, we said, we've got to help protect people from those poor choices. Because Saturday we would show up to training, and you could see guys that they were there, but they weren't present. They were there in attendance, but they weren't there. They mentally weren't there. They were hungover. They were looking like they just made some poor choices the night before. And the biggest thing I think that when we first started off back being in '96, it was February 15th of '96 when I got started. We were making poor choices back then, but then when we started to have the success, once we got started in this industry, we said we've got to make a commitment, and that was what really was the defining moment for me, is when I stopped making poor choices and hanging out and partying and just focus on growing and developing. And it was about attacking Friday night. So the reason why, Simon, we chose Friday nights is because it wasn't convenient for people. People would rather go out and party, but sometimes it's not what's convenient that's going to help you become successful. Success isn't convenient, right? It's not about, this is easy to do. It's always about, it's the salmon stream, swims up the stream. So, I think that the biggest thing, we made it a little bit challenging for people because we knew that it was going to be in their best interest.
Yeah, I think you're setting the message and the culture that you're doing this instead of that. You're not doing both. You got to choose either or.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what's one thing that excites you about network marketing right now?
I love the industry of where it's going. And I love the fact that, today, Simon, we look at, you look at your platform here, and just caring about people and creating an environment so people can get, coaching and insight. Maybe something that I say resonates with somebody, right? Something that somebody else says resonates with somebody else. So the fact of the matter is, now that we're in the information age, it really is a new day and age. It's really a new time. When you look at like the text messaging platform that, when I got involved, only doctors and people making poor choices sometimes had cell phones. Back when I got involved, right, it was pagers. But to see like the change in the technology, it's really making it easier for people to be aware of what's going on. And I love that because number one is everybody's really in a fishbowl now, which is important, right? We know in leadership we're always in a fishbowl, right? As a parent, you know that if you do certain things, your kids are going to pick up on it, right? So you kind of have to make sure that you make good choices and kind of lead by example. And when you look at leadership, that's to me what it's all about, is by living in that fishbowl. But now with the dawn of the technology, the way it is now, that it really is everybody lives in a fishbowl because everybody sees what everybody does. So you have to kind of, you have to build a culture where you treat your people, really well, and people they can't really, do the things that maybe they used to do back, in the 80s and 90s, where, that people weren't really serving people. I think nowadays with the dawn of the internet and social media and these things, you really have to serve people to be successful in direct sales and network marketing. So I love that. I love the fact that, that it's easier to get in touch with people, but not always necessarily as easier as better, right? Because you still have to work at it. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I can do it, but guess what? It's not what you can do. It's what you do, right? It's what are you going to do? And I love the fact that, that the technology is there. But the thing I love the most, Simon, is the fact that, you people have better access to training. And if you really have a desire to grow and get better and you get passionate, somebody can really make a commitment, Simon, to really grow and develop. And you can expedite your learning process. Because back in the days, man, we were like searching for VHS. It's like, oh my God, and nowadays it's like the information's everywhere, but you still have to access it. You still have to really focus it on growing, Simon. And that's why I love what you're doing here with this platform.
Awesome wisdom. Yeah, you're right. It's easier to get the great stuff, but you still got to do. Right, you gotta do the work. You still gotta do the work. Really good stuff. Hey, ML Nation, if you like this, please share this. Also on the Facebook Live, I've tagged Tim on here. Definitely follow him. So share this and follow him. So Tim, let me ask you: do you see that people are more open to network marketing now than before, or is it more or less the same? And just people just think it's easier, or think back then it was harder?
I think people are more open-minded now. I think back in the days, you're always going to have bad experiences. It doesn't make a difference, right? There's going to be a restaurant down the street that somebody goes into, they eat some food and they get sick. It doesn't mean that, guess what? Now we're not going to eat food anymore, right? So, there's going to be bad experiences no matter what, and everything, right? So there's going to be situations that aren't going to work out the right for people. But what I do believe, more than ever before, is that the industry is a lot better, right? It's got a lot more credibility, than it did back in the 90s. It's just so much more credible now than it ever has been before, with the Warren Buffett's, owning a direct sales company, and, the Richard Branson starting a company, and obviously, our president, whether people love him or hate him, whatever, right? He was, he's had his affiliations with network marketing. And so I think that the industry itself, Simon, it's got a lot more credibility than it did back when I got involved in 96. But, I think that still we all have to do our job. I think every network marketer, doesn't matter what company you're in, is you really have to do your job, right? Of being the right type of person, and obviously we can't control people. We can only take care of ourselves. But if everybody makes a commitment to say, hey, I'm going to do my part, I'm going to serve people, I'm going to help people, I'm going to grow people, I'm going to grow myself. And they use this industry for what I believe it was meant for, is a platform to grow people and develop people and help people reach their goals and dreams, as opposed to using it as a platform to try to get, let me try to get things, right? It's not about, you're going to acquire success financially, but don't go after the money. Go after the people out. Sometimes, that individual, it's not going to come back from that person, right? You're not going to see the rewards. Maybe that person, you grow them. And, it was a quote I saw, I think it was by Richard Branson. He says, grow your people, to the point where they don't feel like they need you, but, treat them so well that they want to stay. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that if we just treat people better, and we treat people and grow people and help people and focus in on just, really pouring into people, that's going to be, the difference maker, Simon, for our industry in a whole. Because I think, and I love your platform, because your platform is exactly that, where people get a chance to be able to gather ideas and insights. To me, it's one of the greatest things that's happening right now, Simon, is what you're doing, because you're getting people in touch with so many people that can impact their lives. And I think that's what it comes down to.
Awesome wisdom. I thank you for the kind words. It's the third time you said it. And I love what you said. Don't chase the money, but go after growing people, and money will chase you. Hey, that's your aha moment of the day. Don't chase money. Go grow people, and the money will chase you. Hey, Tim, you've been awesome. Hey, for those on Facebook Live, please share this. Got really a lot of nuggets of wisdom here. As you go towards the end of the show, Tim, some really quick questions to pick your brain. And this could be quick, quick 1 or 2 sentences. First one is, maybe this would be from Jim Rohn, but maybe not. But what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
David Brinkley, I think, said a great one. He said that a successful man can build a solid foundation on the bricks that others have thrown at him.
Good stuff. That was the David Brinkley. Wow.
Yeah, David Brinkley. Yeah.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
the biggest habit I think is doing more than you get paid for, right? I think that's a big one, is that people can just get in the habit of doing more than what they get paid for to make an investment on their future. I think that's going to be the biggest one that's going to help them out the most.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the process.
So let's talk about prospecting tools. Say you have a qualified prospect. What's your favorite prospecting tool? Do you send them a link to an online video? Do you meet with them and draw circles and or use a flip chart? Do you use an iPad or use Zoom? What do you like?
Yeah, what I like, Simon, I just like as many exposures as possible. I think that the process of getting somebody started is not so much about, it's like not trying to hit a home run, but trying to get somebody to first base, second base, third base, fourth base, and just moving people around. So the bases, and I think that it's all about exposure. So it's not so much that it's one, it's that all of them in combined. And I think that's the biggest one.
Do you have a favorite online resource like a Dropbox or Evernote or favorite app on your phone that you could recommend?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dropbox and Hightail and sending information. I love that. I love to get audio CDs and then copy them to my Dropbox and just share them with different people and ask them what do you think about this, and and I like to record my trainings and put them on YouTube. Those are the types of things. So then then I can serve everybody in the industry, not just my just people on my team.
What's one book you could recommend to MLM Nation?
I would say Mindset by Carol Dweck. Dweck. Mindset by Carol Dweck. She's a professor. When she wrote the book at Columbia, now she's a professor at Stanford. But she's about behavior psychologist, and it's really a great book about developing the right growth mindset, and it's good for parents with kids and people that are in relationships, and just it's one thing that's good about everything, but it also obviously encompasses our industry of direct sales and network marketing.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. You ready?
Yes.
So, Tim, imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. So you didn't know your wife, you didn't know your 4 kids. You're kind of an alien that went to another planet. But you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build an MLM business from scratch?
I'd say, probably the local Starbucks. Starbucks are everywhere. And I would just go out to somebody and, just start talking to people. I think that's the best thing to do.
And how do you approach it? What would your opening line be?
Usually I just, I look at somebody and I try to give them a compliment. If somebody's giving me good service, right? If I'm at a restaurant, somebody's giving me good service, I just compliment them. If somebody's giving me terrible service, I'm not going to recruit them, right? That's the last thing I'm going to do. But if I see somebody that I like and I like the way that they're operating, and I see that, that they're giving 100% and they're doing a job that might not necessarily be something that's going to get them to where they want to be in life, but, in the meantime, they're giving their best at what they're doing. It's going to open up the doors for more opportunities. And I just talk to them and just say, hey, I like what you're doing, I just got lucky. I'm right now working on a project, here, and we've got, we might have something available for if you're the type of person that's open-minded to make more money. And I just ask them, hey, if I could help you make a couple thousand extra a month part-time, is that something that you might be interested in? And just smile. And sure enough, more times than not, if they're the right person, they're going to say yes.
Awesome. Hey, Tim, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you?
Oh, Simon, I would say the best advice that I would give somebody is to keep growing. I think that's the biggest thing is once you're red, you rot, right? But when you're green, right, you're growing. So I think the biggest thing is that just keep growing. I'm on Facebook, obviously I'm on Instagram, I'm on all the social media platforms. Anybody could reach out to me anytime, anywhere. I always respond. Like I said, man, I'm just trying to help grow people. And that's what my passion is. And that's why I love, Simon, what you're doing so much.
Hey, MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today, you've been hanging out with Tim Herr. So check it out. Go to MLMNation.net. Just search for Tim on the search bar, and all the nuggets of wisdom will be right there. Hey, Tim, thank you so much again. In order to be successful in life and in network marketing, you must help others. So thanks again for sharing your time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Tim, hang on there. That was awesome. Let me just wrap up this Facebook Live feed. I want to talk to you personally for a second.
Yeah.
Hey, MLM Nation on Facebook Live, what's up? Definitely connect with Tim Herr, tag them on this post, share this as well. Awesome nuggets of wisdom about having the growth mindset and what it takes to create that environment for growth. Go out there, connect with Tim, share this good stuff, and now's your turn. Remember, Tim says you still got to do the do. Go out there and make it happen, do the work, and remember, we're in the profession to help others, so go out there, have a positive impact on someone's life today. God bless you all.